Get moving. Get a move on. Leave your land. Get moving. Climb the mountain. Springtime people go out and do more sports, they do more walking. They get a move on. But here there's a bigger move for humanity at foot. And the Lord said to Abraham, get a move on. Move from the land of your people, of your relatives, of your kinspeople. And move to a land I will show you. And that summarizes in one way the whole of human history. Get a move on. And that's physically, but it's also metaphorically. Get a move on. It will be great. That's the dream of every immigrant, the dream of every refugee, to get away from trouble. Get a move on. We all like to go for a stroll and chat, even sunrise stroll and chat here at the Sea of Galilee. It's nice to go out and stroll with the family, with friends. We're not made to be locked up. Get a move on. And I will bless you. And through you I'll bless many others. It's a good idea to be blessing, because that brings lots of blessing. One receives lots of blessing for blessing. It's not like a commerce, a buying of it, but it's a generosity. The outdoing in generosity, being outdone in generosity. And we have that wonderful expression, what goes around comes around. It's hard to be giving out negativity, because that comes around as well again. What goes around comes around. Get moving. So now we're going to about the mountain. Get a move on. Come with me. We're not going to stay here in the flats around the lake. It's easy. You learn to cycle, ride a bicycle, and it's good to be able to get that balance, to get moving, to be on the flats. It's not a big effort. Now start riding your bicycle up the mountain, uphill. Then it becomes difficult. Let's go up the mountain. One of the lessons I get from today's readings is, and I didn't discover the Mediterranean, okay? It's a topic of lots of people pondering these texts. Our faith is not just about information. Now, you got all the information and it all adds up, and so I believe. Our faith is about relationship, and it's about experience. When you have relationships with people, you have experiences with people. You can have good experiences or bad experiences. And you have experiences. It's not just about a mental fact or a knowledge. It's much more. It's about a whole integral encounter. It's about being received. It's about greeting. It's about interest, mutual interest. It's about mutual enrichment. It's about compassion. It's about doing something together, doing it for other people together. It's an experience. It involves the eyes and the ears. It involves a handshake, a hug. It involves recognizing the other person's sentiments, inner perception, you know. How are they feeling? Are they tired? Are they angry? Did I talk too much? Sometimes I talk too much. Can you believe that? And sometimes people are tired of me. Most of the feedback here on the Stroll Chat is kind of complimentary, but, you know, people can get tired of each other. Of course, normal, human. Boker Tov, Dobre Jutro. Not really interested, you see. That's okay. There's room for everybody along this shore. And actually the second reading as well, not just the gospel reading, but the second reading is also about moving. It's quite interesting. So go up the mountain. Let's go up this steep mountain here behind the trees. And it's an experience because you go up a mountain with somebody, with your family. Everybody has an experience. Maybe somebody has tired, maybe somebody tripped, maybe somebody can't make it up further. They're discouraged. You can tell there was human activity here, but it wasn't in the first millennium. Or prehistoric. Get a move on. So going up the mountain, then they have a new experience of Jesus. And that's very important. You know, there's some religious systems, and it's like more about wisdom and about attitude information. But really from Abraham on, it's about historical experience. And the concrete contents of that history are often very remote and difficult. But the closer we get from Abraham to our day, the experience is more and more recorded. Writing was a big help to maintain a written record, and then that experience was digested and redigested and re-expressed, and the themes became constants, that God created us, that God calls us, that God calls us to more, He calls us to grow, He calls us to go up a mountain, He calls us to go to another land where there be a place of blessing. And it's not going to be easy. In fact, that's why we have the Transfiguration right now, which the Transfiguration in a certain sense seems to be a kind of a out of place in Lent, because it's a big happy occasion. It's an occasion filled with extraordinary transcendence and beauty and meaning and light and delight. And they're very happy. Peter wants to make 3 tents. When Lent is a time of self-denial, a time of cutting back on indulgence. And here they're getting a huge indulgence, a huge experience of total enjoyment and fulfillment. But they're doing that because they've been having it on a completely different level. They couldn't produce it. It's a gift. It's given to them. They just couldn't produce it on their own. It would be impossible. They had to go up that mountain with Jesus, and it's revealed to them and it's given to them. And Peter wants to make 3 tents. It's so beautiful up here in the mountain. And there's Elijah and Moses. Just imagine for Jewish folks to get right face to face with Moses and Elijah. Can you imagine? Oh, look what they did with our flowers. They're all gone. It looks like they mowed them down, because we have them over here as well and they're not mowed down. So Moses and Elijah, Right there, having a cup of tea with Moses and Elijah. Let's make 3 tents. Let's make this even more comfortable. But it's an experience. It's a very rich experience. It's an experience for a future, for preparation for the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus. They're being prepared. They enter experience. There's an interesting symbiosis there between the cows and the birds, right? And the third part of getting moving, and this is third one for us Christians, a tough one, And Paul is saying to Timothy, bear your share of hardship for the gospel. It ain't easy. It ain't going to be easy. So toughen up. Bear your share of hardship for the gospel. Okay, we have Mount Tabor, but that's preparing us for the passion, death, and resurrection. Bears your share of the gospel. Toughen up. This is not just a Jesus show, a solo for the theater of the world. This is actually all his folks being introduced with him are going to go through the exact same thing. This is the pattern of life. It thought occurred to me this morning when Jesus says, and the Son of Man will suffer. The Son of Man, this is a very Hebrew expression, Ben Adam. And so, obviously there are different ways to read it, and one of the ways that's commonly read is, that Jesus is the Son of Man, the Word incarnate. But you could also take it, I think, it speaks to us as every one of us. And the paradigms of life, that's what makes great theatre great. When people feel that it kind of talks to their environment, it talks to their situation. I read a note this past week about Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar, and it was a commentary about that famous text of Brutus, such a tragic figure as well, and such a noble person in many ways. But he said, there's a tide in the affairs of people when taken at its full leads on to success. But when it's missed, you get stuck in the shallows of miseries. And apparently at that time where the theatre was, it was a new theatre where Shakespeare was first played, I think it was 1599. It turns out that there was a problem crossing the Thames to get to the theatre. And there was a tide coming in that made it more easily to go across the Thames in probably little boats. And imagine if you didn't have enough water, you get stuck in the shallows and the miseries, and all your nice clothes on the way to the theatre would be all muddy, So people felt a relevance in the text, in the content of the theatre to their lives. But this is so true of the gospel, so true of the scriptures, so true of the story of Abraham. This is our story. It's a Ben Adam story. It's a story of every human being. As every human being has to leave the comfy spot of mother's womb and enter the world of light and darkness. And every human being has to leave the warmth of the little creche, the little cage where they're walking around learning to walk and don't get into harm, and they have to go to kindergarten. And then they have all the cuddly stuff of kindergarten and the little games and everything, and now they have to go to learn real learning in first class and second class. And then they have to go from that very contained world of grade school. We only had 40 kids in our grade school, and head into high school. We're always leaving, we're always exiting, leaving home and getting married. All the children are gone now, and we're back again, husband and wife, just with ourselves. Leaving, and then leaving this life. Move on higher, climb the mountain. Make the experience. You're being called. Ready to leave. to be able to follow a good call, a good invitation. Let's leave it like that for today, people. God bless you. See you later, alligators. Come on here. There we go. Here we are in this beautiful spot. May you be blessed today. Have a blessed Sunday, blessed week. And see you tomorrow, God willing.